Hey there, Lisa here. Welcome to my channel. I hope you'll join me in my love of crafting and DIYs and hit that subscribe button. This video today is part of the Vintage Garden Room by Room challenge, and I'll tell you a little bit more about that in a bit. But let's get started. Turns out I love vintage garden decor, and I had a lot of stuff in the shed from our previous home that I had just not done anything with. And so I got to shop from my own shed, which was kind of fun, and then just bring it to life. And I have a feeling that there is going to be a part 2 because I have a lot of things that I just did not get to. Supplies you will need to make an upcycled birdcage would be a birdcage, a planter of some sort, dirt, and flowers. So we have this post in the yard that was probably once part of a fence, and so we decided to incorporate it into our vintage garden decor that we're starting here. So we picked up some old wood from behind the shed, and my husband pried it apart with a crowbar as it was mini layered and rotting in places, and got a usable piece, and then he took and cut that piece down to size and then attached it to the post, and then he attached the birdhouse on top. And he tried several different ways to attach the birdhouse, nails, screws, but just the way it was and the way it needed to be attached, he ended up drilling some holes and using some zip ties. So it is secure there. We get some high winds around here, so it needed to be secured. And then I apologize, I don't have footage of this portion, but I went ahead and picked up a couple of plants from Walmart and put them in this pot, and then the pot to the birdcage. And that's it for this project. As I mentioned briefly, this video is part of a collaboration. This is the Room by Room challenge, and this month's theme is Vintage Garden. This is hosted every month by the lovely Devin at Freckled Mom, and each month she has a co-host. And this month's co-host is Favi at Arrows DIY. Both of these ladies' channels will be linked in the description box, so be sure to check them out, as well as the playlist of other creators bringing you vintage garden inspiration today. Supplies needed to make the upcycled fence board would be a picket fence board, Mod Podge, paint, brushes, clear coat, masking tape, and a stencil. I would just like to note that any old wood would work. And also, I don't show in the video me doing the clear coat because it was extremely windy. If you saw my lemon decor video, you'll know that I am practicing stenciling and also trying different materials to see what I like with vinyl and transfer paper. So the first thing I did for this project was I did up the word garden, and this is the biggest stencil I've ever done, so I had to do it in 3 sections. And then I used the Dollar Tree white vinyl, and then I had this contact paper I was trying to use up. But I don't think that I will use this again, mostly because it was really old and it was kind of sticky and tacky and left a residue. The white Dollar Tree vinyl is not sticky enough for this project, but we made it work. So I had this board. It was part of this little fence that we took down in our previous home, and so I've been toting this thing around for years, and I always just wanted simply the word garden on it. And so I finally got to get this done. So I went and took and applied the stencils. And like I said, I had to cut it out in 3 pieces. So it did take me some time to get them lined up just the way I wanted. And like I had said before, just the roughness of this board and how non-sticky the white. Apparently the other colors are stickier, but the white vinyl from Dollar Tree is not real sticky. But I worked with it. I did the best I could with it. And then I took and added some masking tape in the spots. I had a couple spots that tore just a little bit, and then I put masking tape between them because I'm kind of a messy painter. And then I took and I did the Mod Podge thing. And so with a sponge brush, with a sponge brush, I applied Mod Podge liberally over the stencil first, and then I let that dry. And then I went back over with a stencil brush and my black paint. And I just used acrylic paint. I'm going to seal this really well, so hopefully it'll hold up for several years. And I don't mind if it gets, you know, sort of that rustic worn look anyhow. It will match the board. And here it is all stenciled, and then the peel off. And I was pleasantly surprised with how well this worked. I was really nervous to pull this off. But the Mod Podge sealing the edges of the stencil really does make a difference, especially with how not sticky this was. It was not stuck down well. I'm super happy that I did the Mod Podge first, and I'm going to show you here in a second the bleed through. You can see the bleed through of the Mod Podge. See all that white around there? That's where I would have had black if I hadn't have done the Mod Podge first. And I have a tiny bit of bleed of the black, so you can see it there. But this is such a, you know, big sign that I am not going to go back and try and touch that up. I think that it's just a couple little spots there. So I was very happy with how this turned out. I am now a pretty firm believer in the fact of using Mod Podge over your stencil before. That is also it for this project. We are doing super simple today. Supplies you will need to make an upcycled chicken wire bin would be a chicken wire bin of some sort, burlap, potting soil, flowers, and then scissors. I have this chicken wire bin that I have used for several different things. At one point, I had vegetables in it. And then most recently, I don't know if you saw my craft organization video, but I used it to store my fake florals. But I'm changing things up again and doing something different in my craft spaces, which I will be sharing probably late summer. So anyways, I decided that I thought that this would work well with the vintage garden theme. And so I got some burlap that I had in my stash, and I folded it over. So I doubled it, and then I cut it out so that it would fit inside the bins. And then I am going to fill the entire part of each section. However, I end up having to change this later, and so I will show you that. But this is the process that I did. Was I folded it in half, and then I tucked it inside the bins, put a little up on each side and back and front so that the dirt would stay in there. And then I repeated the process for all 3 bins. And then this is what it looked like when I got all 3 of them done. And so it's really just placed in there, nothing fancy. And then I filled them with dirt, and I have a little helper guy, and I probably could have used a bigger container. Sometimes I just work with what I got laying around. But my son loved this part, the dirt part. And then I had picked up some flowers at Walmart. So I cut them out of their containers and started placing them inside. And this is where I realized, unless I was doing a real small vine or something that would grow up through the chicken wire, I kind of needed to plant these at an angle coming out the front. And so I realized that I don't need that much dirt in the back. And so I had to come up with a way to sort of just push that burlap forward so that it would hold the dirt where I needed it. So my solution is that I just take the containers that the flowers came in, and I cut them apart, and I put them behind just to take up that space, and then I just covered them with the burlap so that they would hold the dirt out front where I needed it. So it was a cheap fix. And then once I had that done, I planted my flowers. It felt really good to get outside and get my hands dirty. And then my husband hung it for me. And that's it for this project. Like I said, we are doing super simple today. And here's the aftermath of planting with a toddler. All right, so here they are, super easy upcycles. So from regular post to birdcage planter post. I don't know, I feel like I might need to add something else. I kind of like the hanging plants off of it too. I think that adds a nice little touch. And then we have our bin here. This would be so cute as like a window box too. And now I'm like, oh, do I have a window that this would fit? for railing or window box. And then we're going to take a look at the birdcage again. And I really like this. I do think that someday I may have to make a planter that fits square in it, but that's for a different day. And then we have the garden sign, which like I said, I've been dreaming about forever. I apologize for all the strewn about toys and stuff. I just didn't have time to get the whole yard cleaned up to film this for you. This is going to be fairy gardens. That will be coming soon. I just love how rustic this is, and yeah, it's just chippy and beautiful, and it will get a clear coat. But it was so windy and the day that I painted, and I have not gotten back out to get that clear coat on, but it will get a nice clear coat to protect it. Up on the deck, you can see the bin of flowers. So what do you guys think? Do you like them? Do you have a favorite? This is the beginning of my video. There's a bunch of other stuff that I think I need to incorporate somehow into this vintage garden. So I'm guessing there'll be a part 2, maybe in August. I would love to know what you guys think. I'd love to know what your favorite is. Have you ever done any of these kind of upcycles? Would you like to see more? Do you enjoy them? And if you like the video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you want to see more from me, hit that subscribe button. And have a wonderful day.